Hello everyone and welcome to One Controller Pour. I'm Benjamin Yoder here today. Look at some video games with you. If you want to join me, it's up to you. Or you can close out this video right now. But yeah, so I recently stumbled across this YouTube channel called Game Commercial Collection. And essentially it is a Japanese YouTube channel where they have a variety of game commercials collected from everywhere from like Famicom all the way up to the modern arcade scene. And so what's really cool about looking through these commercials generally is you get a chance to see games that don't really get any coverage here in the US for whatever reason. And so it gives you the opportunity to look at games, see if it's something of interest, and then also do a little research on your own after if you'd like, if you want to learn more about a game or something like that. And recently I've been more into importing Wii games. So I thought it'd be cool to go through these commercials, Japanese commercials, to just see what titles are of interest to me, but it should be noted that a lot of these games also came out here in the West, so it might be a good opportunity as well for me to just talk kind of generally about some of these games. Now I will say I'm going to be talking largely off the cuff about these, so we'll see how kind of intricate my explanation of my feelings on things might be. I'll probably pause the video from time to time here. But I thought it would be fun to sit down and just kind of look at them and review the system, because personally I love the Wii. It's my favorite console. That's probably been my favorite console basically since this system came out. So I still play the system a lot today, and it makes me happy to see that there are people that are coming back to the Wii now and being like, oh yeah, cool system. Like, yeah man, it's a cool system, I love it. Thanks for hanging out with me on the internet talking about the Wii now. So anyways, we'll get started here. Again, this is going to be very early launch lineup stuff. So a lot of these are going to probably be familiar to you. And, I don't know if I really have a lot of commentary on these early ones that probably haven't already been said, to be honest. We're going to get into this first commercial here. I'm pretty sure is literally just like, hey, do you know the Wii exists? So not a ton going on there. Although it is worth mentioning, if you didn't know, the Wii launched in the US first in November. So you can see the Japanese date there was December 2nd for that. So not a ton to say about Wii Sports other than it is very cool as a game. I don't know. I feel like there's nothing left to be said about Wii Sports, honestly, but love that series. I love the Wii series in general, and Wii Sports kind of starts, something, and here's Wii Play as well, starts something that I think is very important to the system, and that is having motions that the player does, basically, map to what's happening in the game, in a way that feels like you're controlling it, even though obviously you're not. Like finding the right space between the suspension of disbelief and the player actually controlling it. WarioWare is very cool. I don't have a lot to say about that WarioWare game. I think it was like what was that one called? I don't remember. Shake It? I think WarioWare Shake It. Twilight Princess, also a video game you don't really need anybody to tell you anything about, probably. I forgot all that fairy icon on screen. So seems like some people are coming back around on Twilight Princess, though. Although I don't think there's nearly as big of a fan base for Twilight Princess for Trauma Center. I have actually never played one of these Wii Trauma Center games. I did pick up Second Opinion, which is this one, I believe. But I mainly picked it up because I actually gave away my DS copy of Trauma Center at some point. Oh man, I recently played Elebits, and Elebits is a game that I really want to love, but didn't necessarily end up loving, unfortunately. There's cool ideas here, for sure. Like, this is a game that is designed 100% for the Wii, and makes use of those controls in a way that's like really impressive and really cool. And so like as a Wii game, I'd say Elebits is very successful. As a video game on its own, which some things like I feel like I'm starting to make that distinguishing factor a lot. Is like, okay, how does a game succeed on a Wii level? Like as a motion control based experience, how does it succeed in that regard? Versus how a game succeeds in the regard of, a game as a whole. And I think the big thing with Elebits is that Elebits just unfortunately does not have a level of progression that utilizes those Wii remote controls in an interesting way. Most of the like more challenging parts of the game really comes down to the player themselves being a bit more careful, I think, but also being like gentler with the Wii remote, which in concept I could see sitting down on paper and writing it out seeming very cool. But like when in execution, I think it results in a lot of levels just becoming very frustrating to sit down and play through it. So, I'll move on from elements, but that's generally... Actually, we did a community review of that, if you want to see that, where we talked about the game after we finished streaming. That Konami logo, though. Oh, I regret buying this game so much. I forget what this is called in the West. Banana Blitz? That sounds right. So I was originally trying to make the decision between buying this and Excite Truck. We'll see if Excite Truck shows up next. This and Excite Truck. Actually, I don't want Excite Truck to show up next. Originally, I was trying to make the decision between buying Excite Truck and Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. And this is probably the very last time I relied on a review in my life. Not because I necessarily stopped trusting reviews, but it just, in my mind, it was just the last time I remember reading a review, seeing IGN's opinion on Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, and comparing that to their opinion on Excite Truck, and being like, Banana Blitz is the better choice. I only have $50 to spend on another launch game. Banana Blitz is gonna be for me. And kind of another benefit of Banana Blitz is there's a bunch of mini games in it, right? And those mini games, like if you're looking for different ways to use the Wii controller, those mini games were an exploration of ideas of how you could use the controllers. Gonna be honest, at this point, I do not remember how those mini games actually executed, but I remember being very disappointed at the time with Banana Blitz, not only from a Monkey Ball perspective, but also from a mini game perspective, and finding it underwhelming overall. There is a Monkey Ball first-person shooter in there, though. I remember playing that a lot because I did not have Red Steel at launch, and I really wanted to play Red Steel. I didn't get Red Steel till Christmas that year. So I got in Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. I was like, I got a first-person shooter in here. I'll play this. This is my first-person shooter Monkey Ball experience, or first-person shooter experience on the Wii in Monkey Ball. So yeah. Super Swing Golf. I actually have this on the Wii. I have not really played this. I think I'm really split on this game and how I want to approach it, because I believe it is like a very... If you don't know, Pangya is the Japanese name. I think it's actually a Korean game. I could be wrong about that. But if I recall correctly, it's a very like grindy golf game in a lot of ways, where you can like earn money and stuff. And I worry in playing that game from the little bit I played of it, is that like when you're using motion controls, you're just kind of unintentionally handicapping yourself, and they do give you button controls. So you kind of have to make that decision of, do I want the accuracy of button controls versus the novelty of using the Wii remote as a golf club? And I think part of me really wants to try out that golf club experience in a way on there, using the original Wii remote in that game. But there are other games that do that better already, at least from what I saw. So Wii Golf and Wii Sports, right? And then also, like, I have not played them yet, but when we think about golf with like Motion Plus on the Wii later, the Tiger Woods games, I think, probably play a better role in that regard. So like when I think about what my goal is in experience with Super Swing Golf, like I feel like my general goal with that game will be less of a Wii game and more appreciating it just as a game itself, as like a grindy anime golf game kind of thing, right? Is that the right approach? I don't know. And is that the approach I'm going to take? Also don't know, but yeah. I see a Street Fighter logo there for a second. I don't know what happened. I picked up Wing Island recently. I've not played it yet. I do love the characters. There's like these bird family characters, but I remember my first impressions were not great on it. But I look forward to checking that out. I forgot all this game. It's called like Kono Rinpa or something like this. I really need to pick this up at some point. I have not looked into it. I'm pretty sure that came out in the West though. I have Mercury something or whatever it's called. Oh gosh, this is probably something we need to actually talk about here in a second. I have the Mercury, and I forget what the full name is. It's one where you like move the Mercury bubble around. I think it was also on the PSP. But I'm wondering, I don't regret buying Mercury, but I'm wondering if Kono Rinpa is probably more of my thing, because it has an aesthetic. It's got a cute aesthetic with like little animal balls, if I recall correctly. When I say animals, I mean like cute animal ball characters. Um, so I think there's an appeal to that. I kind of forgot that a game existed until now. And this is like kind of the reason I want to do this, is to remind myself of some of these games. And I'm pretty sure Koto Rimpa came out here in the US. I'm hoping I'm saying the name right. That might be something I need to keep an eye out for. I have not seen that around. So that might be one of those ones that I have to pick up, like, you know, off of eBay or something later, because I literally don't know the last time I saw that video game. So, okay, what's going on here? Oh, okay. So this is like a festival game. Ooh. Let me see if I can figure out the name of this thing real quick. Okay, so the name of this game seems to translate to, and this is machine translation, Master of Fairs. And this is a Bandai Namco game. I actually got kind of like a Taiko Drum Master vibe from this. So that actually makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I knew this game existed. So that is... Let me make a list here, actually, so I can keep track of what I want to do. So Koto Rimpa, and then Master of Fairs is the US name, or the machine translated. But yeah, so actually there are like some summer festival games. I actually had a friend ask me about summer festival games recently if I knew of any. There's one for them. I'll throw that at them. But yeah, that looks like a cute, fun thing. I would definitely be interested in trying that out. I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of third-party motion control games from this early on. You know, I think Wii Sports is a very particular exception, and to some degree we play, of games that really know how to smudge the line between player control and what the actions are happening in game. And unfortunately, even later on in the Wii's life, this is a problem where many companies don't know how to smudge that line. So you get motion controls that feel like button presses. You get motion controls that feel, you know, like they don't affect what's happening on screen super well. There are games that do that well. And maybe we'll see some of those as we go through this. But I do very much have a hard time trusting, especially minigame collections early on. This is like an SD Gundam game. Yeah, you have like a big mace that you like swing around with the Wii remote. This is one of those cases where I probably would think that it probably feels like a button control, but if it's loose enough, like there might be something cool. Well, actually, let me go back there. Does he like swing the Zaku, or is he hitting the Zanku? No. Scad hammers. Interesting. So yeah, I think the idea behind this having the hammer that you move is kind of like to give you a reason to swing the remote. You can see the Wii remote has like a power meter on the right there too, which is kind of interesting. I'm curious how that works. Are you like swinging a power meter and then also because you notice the power meter is like not moving. It's like static. Huh. I wonder if that power meter means the angle as well, because it looks like the Wii remote is like going up and down. So maybe like if you lean the Wii remote down, it's going to be like a light attack. And if you lean it up, it's going to be a heavy attack. I'm making a lot of assumptions based off of user interface. But Scad hammers seem to be the main part of that name. SD Gundam Scad hammer. Like this is the kind of stuff I remember that game. I just don't remember anything about it. That's just kind of the stuff I want to see jumping into this. So Tamagotchi. There are so many of these Tamagotchi games, and I have no idea what any of them are. This looks like a board game. I'm not going to write this down because I know there are 30 billions of these. I can probably end up checking out at some point. Probably makes sense for me to get the Wii one at some point instead of any other ones, but I've not played a Crown Shin-chan game before. I know the Switch one, though, people are were really excited for. Oh. She looks scared. Looks like a minigame collection, though. That could be interesting. If I saw a copy of that super cheap, I'd pick it up. Red Steel? Okay. Red Steel. Alright. Big Red Steel fan in the room right now. Red Steel 1 fan specifically. Is Red Steel a good game? Probably not. I've not played it recently. Probably not. My memory of it also probably not. Like based off my memory of it, I do not think I always held it to like the highest regards outside of my very much Wii fanboyism days where I'm like, everything on the Wii is amazing and great. But what I can say that's interesting is that like to me Red Steel represents a very stereotypical view of Yakuza in Japan, and I'd be really curious to hear Japanese feelings on Red Steel's story. I kind of want to look at Red Steel reviews. also just writing down that I want to look at Japanese Red Steel reviews. So I'm kind of curious to know their perspective, because it does feel like this super stereotypical Japan kind of thing. So I do like Red Steel a lot, mainly for its setting more than anything, though. Gameplay, I need to play it again. Oh, Bleach. I have a Bleach game on the Wii. I think this is it. Like a fighting game. Actually, so if you don't know, if you're watching this, you don't know who I am. I will buy anime games just randomly and like not have watched the anime. I think it's kind of more interesting to do that than knowing the anime super well. And so I bought that Bleach game on the Wii, and the guy at the counter at the retro game store I was at, where I bought it, I think it was like $8, something like that. He was like, "Oh man, you love Bleach?" I'm like, "Don't know a thing about Bleach. I'm just buying the video game." It was disappointing him. Is this gonna be Battle Revolution? Like connecting the DS version to Battle Revolution? Okay, yeah. For some reason, I have a weird interest in this game. I don't know why. I like the aesthetic of it. I don't know why I like the aesthetic of it. Part of me wants to pick it up and play it just so I can like try to figure that out. I think it's fairly expensive now because of the Pokemon game. I would like to check that out someday though. Don't know why I want to check it out. I hear it's really bad. Is this just like a "please do not throw your Wii remote at the TV" commercial? Put your dang strap on. E-Maker commercial. I love Mii's. Whenever I go back to the Wii and DS, for DS I mean like Tomodachi Collection and Personal Trainer Rocking, it's just a little too limited for my liking. I like what they did with the Wii U and 3DS Mii Maker later, so I think that was like a good improvement. But I think I don't have as much affinity for the original Wii's creator as much as other people. Photo channel? I spent a lot of time in the photo channel. I think if I recall correctly, there's like some weird thing with Excite Truck where like you can pull music from an SD card, but if you update your photo channel to like a later version, it doesn't work anymore for some reason. I need to look into that. It's strange. I mean, and I think they put out like a note saying like, "Hey, this breaks," just so you know. It's Tenkaichi. Never played one of these. I hear very good things about these games. We got a power. I hear very good things about these games, and I do like that they have you sparkling Neo. I think it's called like Tenkaichi in the US. I'm somebody who really cares about motion controls in that, you know, they feel good to what the action that's happening on screen, and seeing those characters doing those motions in person that those characters need to do for those special moves, I think is, depending on how the rest of the game plays, a smart way to handle that if you just focus on the special powers using the motion controls, and B, probably a very cool thing to do because there are kind of like a lot of neat hand motions in Dragon Ball, and anime in general, I guess, but Dragon Ball, how accurate those are and how effective they are and how good it feels to do, whole other thing. But I think there's a lot of promise in a game like that, and I would like to check it out someday. I think it's one of those games whenever I see it around, it's just a little higher price than I'd like for what I want out of it. Excite Truck is an amazing video game. Maybe not so much for like a Wii game perspective of it's basically just tilt controls, right? But like it really makes you rethink how you need to race in a game because it's a star system, and getting first is important, but it's not a requirement. I think that's very cool about Excite Truck, and this is the kind of racing game I want from Nintendo still, where they're trying unique ideas, and I feel like Mario Kart's just not that series for me, unfortunately. I think my uncle used to use the Wii's weather channel like pretty regularly, actually. This UI feels different than the US UI. I could be wrong, and maybe there's like an update that happened later. Like, I think the actual icons may have changed. I think I may have read that at some points that the icons themselves are different between Japanese and the US weather channel to fit, you know, your local weather a little better. And by fit your local weather, I mean like, you know, Japanese stereotypical weather icons are different from the US stereotypical weather icons. Cooking Mama. I played this recently, although I don't really trust my opinion on it because I was having controller connection issues. And it took me a long time to realize that. But this is one of those games that I think... Cooking Mama Cook-Off is one of those games that I think runs into the problem where it's very important for the player in a Wii game to know what kind of motion you want from them. It's a game that many games struggle with. And Cooking Mama doesn't do a good job of showing you the motions you need to do succeed. And this is true without my connection issue. I think the game just is not clear a lot of times. And you needed more details and more like visual representation of how you need to do things. I think having a 3D model showing you the animation the developers expect from you is important, especially in a minigame collection specifically, where you're kind of jumping around to different motions a lot. And unfortunately, again, I had an experience where my Wii remote would kind of disconnect for like a fraction of a second when I was playing that game, and that caused a lot of problems. I don't really trust my opinion on the game super well. But I do feel like that part of the game I can say with confidence that they just need a little more communication on what the player do. We can win a free console. What is this game? Naruto? I don't know anything about any of the Wii Naruto games. I kind of bundle these in my mind alongside, the GameCube ones. There's 4 characters on the screen though, so that was kind of cool actually. Fire Emblem. Not a lot to say about this game, I think, other than actually, the one thing I do want to say is that somebody talked to me recently about the reviews of this game and how it got kind of like panned a little bit at the time. And I think, when you look at Fire Emblem and what it was back then, and like how people were not a huge fan of presentation, I think how people looked at video games in the mid-2000s is very different than today, especially from a reviewer perspective, looking at a mainstream audience kind of thing. And also, it's a very early Wii game, so the fact that it was not, it did not try to utilize the Wii functionality in some ways, when all these other games were very much going out of their way to do so, was a disappointment to a lot of people. And I totally understand that perspective when you look at reviews of the time about this game, and those who reviewed it maybe lower than they should have. Maybe not lower than they should have. I don't want to say lower than they should have, because it was for the audience they were writing it for. That's what's very important. Who is your audience, and what are you doing in consideration to that? And I think as a reviewer, that's often something you need to think about. And how that affects a number score. Number scores in video games suck. It just sucks. Everybody knows they suck, but we all use them because it's easy to look at a website and be like, oh, IGN gave this an 8.2. They must have hated it or something like that, right? Like we all use that, but it is kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. When you read the text of some of those reviews, it makes a lot more sense of the perspective they're coming from and giving those games lower scores, criticizing them a bit more. And, I think a big thing with reviews is that even if you don't agree with the review, the point of review is not to say you agree with me 100%. The point of review is says, here's some information, take what's important to you, and then make a decision based off that, right? So take what you know. And if the things they list out are like, hey, graphics are not good, the presentation is not up to snuff with modern games and today, it looks just like Path of Radiance on the GameCube or something like that, right? Or that doesn't utilize these motion controls. Those are decisions you can make as somebody who's reading that review. These things do not matter to me. The things that they praised, that's what matters to me. General, this kind of review talk there, I guess. Fire Emblem theme is really good, by the way. I forgot about this game. I think this is maybe just a minigame collection, or they may have had like a normal Bomberman mode in there, and then, yeah, okay, there's a normal Bomberman mode in there. Bomberman Land Wii is something I should probably look into at some point. I do have other Bomberman games, but I haven't played it. I picked this up. I love the look of this game. I love games with flashy presentations, especially sports games and stuff like that. I would much rather play this than like a Madden. I do have it. I have not sat down to learn it, unfortunately, yet. I need to figure that out. Sonic and the Secret Rings. I hear a lot of bad things about this game these days. I have not gone back to it recently to say how it plays. If I recall correctly, kind of the big problem with Sonic and the Secret Rings is that it has like a level up feature, and so Sonic plays worse earlier on, so it feels less like not as good to play until you get later on in the game kind of thing, which is, I understand why I don't know why they went with that mechanic for that particular game, but I understand why that would be a problem and why somebody would play that, not think too much of it, and why somebody else would play it and think a lot of it. So I liked it a lot at the time. I really liked the storybook series as a concept. Sonic in the Black Knight, Sonic and the Secret Rings. I remember liking Secret Rings better than Black Knight. I do not like Black Knight. I played Black Knight fairly recently, and tried to go in with like the most open mind I could about it, but I just couldn't find what I wanted out of it. So I don't trust my opinion on Secret Rings though. I think in the West this is like Rapala's Fishing or something like that, or Rapala. This is a Hudson Soft one. I keep looking at this game. I keep wanting to pick this game up. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. It's at this, like a local store every time I go there. So I think if you're gonna get me to buy a fishing game, it's gonna be on the Wii or the Switch. Virtual Console trailer. You know, I think Virtual Console at the time makes a lot of sense in the way they presented it. You know, selling games piecemeal and stuff like that. I'll be honest with you. Today, I think we all know the licensing nightmare of Virtual Console services and things like that, and probably the limited audience of them. And I think the reality is with a lot of that stuff is, you know, people who want larger retro libraries know how to go about getting them, right? And whether that be purchasing old hardware, getting upscalers, things like that, or going down the route of running an emulator, something like that. And so, while I understand the frustration with Nintendo doing a subscription service today, I think for their core audience, the subscription service just makes the most sense. I think it's the weirdos in the corners like me who like will never be happy unless we have full backwards compatibility or like a massive chunk of the library available that just won't ever really care about those services in a way. But we have ways to play those games, so it doesn't matter, I think, that much. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of how emulators are perceived by Nintendo and things like that. And the fact that retro gaming has become a really expensive hobby in a lot of ways. But there are ways to play those games, I think, which is important. Another wrist strap commercial. Oh no, Wii Sports. One thing that's kind of interesting is I remember at the time there was a lot of like talk about how Kinects were very disruptive to Japanese households due to the size. I'm wondering, if it literally is just the fact that, a Wii remote doesn't, well, I guess it does kind of ask for like space requirements, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know the difference between like the space you need for playing a Wii game versus the space you need to play a Kinect game. I wonder if that mattered at all. If there were any households that were just like, this is just too, what you're doing in this game is too active to like fit in our tiny living room, right? I don't know. Alright. Everybody Votes channel. I remember Everybody Votes being like way later. I don't know when in 2007 this was, so. In my mind it was like a 2008 thing, but I'm probably wrong. I did like this channel a lot though. Also, like, all these channels had amazing music, by the way. So if you have not, like, if you only have gone back and listened to like the core Wii like operating system music lately, go and listen to these other channels. Everybody Votes channel, Check Me Out channel, things like that. Super Paper Mario is a game I really have a lot of affinity for. I really liked this game at the time. I know people don't like it because, Paper Mario and Thousand Year Doors, very popular. Paper Mario 64, very popular. I like those games. I enjoyed them too. And I like RPGs. And the Paper Mario series I think is very cool overall. But I really like, whether or not this should have been Paper Mario or not is a whole other thing. But like I really like 2D to 3D gameplay. The switch back and forth, using the A button to do that. And this is something that I still today feel like is something I would like utilized in games more. I just think it's a really cool concept, and I don't think a lot of games give you a lot of that kind of control. There's a few games that do. There's a series of Dojin games called the Ghost Solid games. I think I have Ghost Solid. It might be Ghost Solid 9, and then like there's volumes, or it might be I have Ghost Solid 9. I don't remember what it is, but there's games that do this in the indie space. So like I don't want to say too much, but I really like this concept a lot, and I kind of wished more developers played with this idea more. But I have a lot of fond memories of Super Paper Mario. I did remember liking the story a lot too. So I have this. I think I paid way too much money for it. I think it's like $25 what I paid for it, and it was more than I wanted. Again, one of those situations I never really like. I read like the first volume of One Piece and that's it. But this game looks cool. I'd like to sit down and play it. It's made by Gumbarion, who is the developers of what's that game called? Dang it, Pandora's Tower. The dog. I don't know what the Japanese name for this is. Dog Island. I used to listen to Go Nintendo a lot, and Luke from Go Nintendo really loved this game. I would love to play Dog Island at some point. Oh man, that Japanese box art's so good. There's a PS2 version, and I wonder if the motion controls are any good. Didn't know there's a Yuke's game. Huh. Oh, Big Brain Academy. Okay. I passed up on a copy of Big Brain Academy recently. So I have Big Brain Academy on the DS, and I sat there and stared at it and was like, the Wii version, I was looking at a copy for like $8 or something like that, and I was just like, I'll not play this anytime in the near future. I really want this. There will be more opportunities for me to buy Big Brain Academy on the Wii, but I think I need to buy it at some point. Is it like a general commercial? Wait, what is this? Big Brain Academy, okay. I'm stupid. I'm pretty sure this Big Brain Academy. Okay, yeah, Touch Generations. I did not think about the fact that those are Touch Generation games on the Wii. I wonder if in the US they called them Touch Generation games. Or if that was a Japan specific thing. Because I'd imagine, to me, a lot of the Touch Generation naming comes from the DS being a touchscreen device. So yeah, I'm curious if they kept that same naming here in the US. I'm pretty sure Wii Sports and Wii Play do not say Touch Generations on them. Maybe Big Brain Academy, though? I think it was the web browser. I'm not paying a ton of attention there, but... This game looks really cool. I think it got localized in Europe. There's a video about this online. I really want to check this game out. Again, I haven't watched Detective Conan, but the game itself has a cool look, and I think the adventure elements looks fun. Resident Evil 4. This is a good version of Resident Evil 4. Pointer controls. Do they? Look, alright. There's probably a lot of versions of Resident Evil 4 out there. There's probably very good versions of Resident Evil 4 out there. I'm a big fan of the pointer controls on the Wii. I wonder how many people are of the opinion that the Wii version is the best version of the game because of that. The one here, I'll give you guys a little complaint about the Wii version. The one thing that always bothered me, Leon's gun never felt like it lined up with the cursor very well. Something about it always fell off. There's my complaint. Otherwise, good game. The blue light thing was really cool. I just wish there was like a way you could better utilize it officially. I know in the like modding scene you can turn it on. What is this? Oh, it's Harvest Moon. Okay. I was getting excited that there's gonna be like a lot of motion controls. I don't know. I mean, maybe that Harvest Moon game has a lot of motion controls. I don't know. Is this okay? This is okay. I have this video game. I don't want to be too hard on this video game because I have not played it a ton. The way I looked at it was Power Stone mixed with Mario Party. So you're basically it's an arena fighter. You're fighting in the arenas. I don't know how easy it is for you to scroll back, but you're fighting in the arenas, and there's like mini games that happen during it, kind of thing. Also, a lot of horny apparently. Although I think that series has kind of a reputation to some degree. Whatever. But it just plays so janky and does not feel good. I really want. Maybe someday I'll sit down and play it and I'll figure it out and it'll feel good. I just remember it not feeling good to play at all. I like the idea though. Is this Bongo Blast or something? If this was on the GameCube with the bongos, I probably would have gotten it. You know, look, Bongo Blast. First and foremost, I know it does not. A lot of people do not like it. Second, I feel like I have always had this like prejudice to it because they took the bongos out of it. You can't even use the bongo support. However, I understand why, like, business decision wise, that's separate. But, you know, I understand why you'd make that connection that the Wii Remote and Nunchucks can replace that bongo motion. And I feel like over the years, I have been too hard on the bongos part of it being removed. So I think today, you know, I don't know if I'll ever play Bongo Blast. I think today I have learned my lesson on being like judgmental about them removing the bongos out. If I find the opportunity where that game makes sense to purchase and play it, I will do so. I don't know how much it costs. I don't think I've seen a copy anytime recently. So I don't know if that day will ever come. But if that day comes, I will not let that hold me up from buying it. I love Dragon Quest Swords. Oh my gosh. Dragon Quest Swords is awesome. So, I love the style and aesthetic of Dragon Quest games. But boy, I did not like Dragon Quest VIII very much. And my understanding is a lot of Dragon Quest games all play very similar for good reason. I understand why. I like the spin-off games though, like Dragon Quest Heroes and Dragon Quest Swords specifically. And what I love about this game is that it is like 10 hours, very compact. It's a great looking game, but it's like, it feels like, you know, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest on the Super Nintendo? It feels like your first RPG kind of thing. And this game to me always kind of fell into the bridge game mentality of like, somebody bought a Wii, they didn't know what they're doing, they just got Wii Sports, and they're like, I guess I know Dragon Quest, I'm going to try this thing. And then they like learn the basics of an RPG through a different, more involved, you know, style game. So you like have, you know, on rails kind of sword combat kind of thing. And I love that idea with that. But anyways, I think what's really cool about this game is that it takes like what would typically be, you know, 40, 50, in the case of Dragon Quest games, sometimes above like 70, 80 hours, and crams that down to 10 hours. And while it's definitely does not have the scope of those larger games, I think it gets the point across. And it hits the main points of characters and all that stuff, and the Dragon Quest storytelling. You know, I don't think Dragon Quest storytelling is all that deep, honestly. But I say this to somebody who's not played that many. I will say that, and I don't want to say that like I know Dragon Quest V has some stuff going on in there. There's like time skip stuff in Dragon Quest VI. I don't want to like disregard it too much, but you know, I do feel like Dragon Quest storytelling is often pretty straightforward when it comes to the core start to end kind of thing of like who's at the end there. So I think taking that down, boiling it into a very engaging 10-hour experience, and still, you know, having that Dragon Quest charm is very important. I did get Dragon Quest Kenshin at one point, which you don't know is like a little I'll grab it real quick actually. So it's basically this like plug and play Dragon Quest accessory, and it uses a technology. I forget the company. It's actually, I think, a US based hardware company that it uses that for. But it uses this sword controller, so it very much plays in the style of Dragon Quest Swords. So I believe this came out first. I think this might be like 2004 or something like that. 2003. So this is kind of in some ways a sequel to that. This is the original game. Dragon Quest Swords is the sequel to that. So unfortunately, my copy does not seem to work for whatever reason. At least I was never able to figure it out. So I would like to replace it someday. But, you know, I don't know how likely that will be. I've not looked into the prices of them recently. But someday I would like to play through that. Is this the Konami series? I have not played any of these baseball games. I probably should at some point. I did not know there was, like, motion control running and stuff. That's actually kind of neat. I like that. I do like baseball and Wii Sports, I will say that. Like a game show TV? Or TV show game? Oh no, it's what is it called? Monogatari, something like that. If you don't know, that series is huge in Japan, and like if you look at the Switch sales, that game is like really high up in Japanese lifetime sales. The Switch one. I don't know about the Wii one. I assume it sold just as well. I think it's been around since like the Famicom days. To be honest with you, I think it's been around forever. Never played this, but I do have it. I got it for like $1 at GameStop once. Really should play this. I remember at the time it kind of got poo-pooed on because it was a little simple. But, you know, I'm okay with that these days. I don't need games to be like overly complicated as long as the ideas are cool and effective. I wonder if this has anything special to it or if it's literally just where you pop and use the D-pad to... Okay, kiss that. Oh boy, I don't know if I realized there was a Wii Gundam game that is in this style. Because like when I think of this style, like MS0079 style kind of Gundam or something, I don't know if that's the right word, but I think that is. I think of the PlayStation 3 one. I don't know if I realized there's a Wii one. This is like some of the stuff that like I'm sure back in the day when I was like religiously following Go Nintendo, I was aware of this video game. But it has since left my mind. I would love to remember that this is a thing. Keep it in mind when I think about importing Wii games. Mario Party? Okay. Mario Party 8's fine. Personally, I'm partial to Mario Party 7, but it is very much a I think Mario Party games are a time and place thing for you usually. So we might get content strike for this. I never played this game, but I watched my sister play it, and I love the idea of it and how chill it is. There's a sequel to this too. I don't own it anymore. I gave it to my sister, I believe. Oh, is this yeah, Samurai Warriors Katana. So this is one of those launch games I have had on my mind for years. Like, all right, look. It's maybe not so much these days, but back when you had consoles that had more like unique launch titles, right? I think the launch lineup is something that always stuck really hard with me because it is like you have a select portion of 12 to 20 games to pick from, and this is what you have options for. And so when you're thinking about buying a console, every one of these games is something you evaluate. Where if you come in later in the console's lifespan, that's not the case. So some of these games, DSA are like pack picks and stuff like that. Stuff like this, like where I probably don't really have any real, like I probably put not that I don't have any real interest. Like I definitely love sword fighting in Wii games, and I'd love to play a game that does that in that style with like the Samurai Warriors style. I believe that's Samurai Warriors, that franchise. It's like Sengoku something West or in Japan. But that I put undue emphasis on it because it was one of those games, I think, and like so to my mind it sticks out of like eventually I need to play this because it's one of those core games that I was always thinking about early on. I've never played a Mario Strikers game. These look cool. I don't know if it uses the Wii controls well or not. Oh, I remember the hands thing. I wonder how people feel about that, actually. I wonder if it's like... So there's a new one coming out in the near future here, but let's wipe that off the plate. I wonder in the time between those last two and the new one, where the Mario Strikers Charged fan base was. Were they with the GameCube one, or were they playing the Wii one? And how open were they to the motion controls? And was that like a key part of that game for them? Or was it just a gimmick that they wish was not a part of that game? I am not familiar with the Mario Strikers Charged fan base these days. No idea where they're at. But that'd be a very curious question for me. I would like to play the My Sims games at some point. I think there's a bunch of these. I love the look of them. And they're different from like normal Sims games. So I think there's value to checking these out at some point. I think there's multiple of these too. That was a good choice. I think that was a great use of the Sim franchise, just like from a marketing perspective. I have played this game and I do really love it. It is, if you have not seen it, I made a video review on this. This is like a on-rails magic casting game or something, but like the magic casting is pretty straightforward. Very short game, good co-op game kind of thing. But yeah, it is basically you going through a bunch of school grounds and stuff, basically putting these barrier around monsters and then blowing them up. And very simple, very straightforward, very short, but it needs to be this short. It feels like an arcade experience. I'd recommend if you ever like get the chance to play it, however you're gonna play it, just giving it a little bit of time, spend a couple hours on it, move on with your life. But very fun game. Did not realize it was so early in the Wii system's lifespan. It definitely is not like amazing at its motion controls, but I think it's a smart use of its motion controls, so I do appreciate that. Is this the same game? I think it is. Oh, it's the second game. Or wait, is it? I wonder if that other one we saw earlier was that original game or if it's the second game. That would have been a quick turnaround time. This is still 2007. Too lazy to look, though. There's a lot of those games either way. I assume this is also Sparkling whatever? Sparkling Meteor? The Tenkaichi 3. I have Zack and Wiki. I need to play Zack and Wiki again. I did not like this when I was a kid. I don't really know why. I was not good at puzzle solving. That's probably why. We'll see. I don't want to say too much about that game at this point. I feel like I need to revisit it. Ghost Squad! It's an arcade game. I recently played through this and enjoyed it. However, if you want to like get the maximum value out of it in terms of like playing through it and like feeling like you've completed the game or whatever, it is a very repetitious game. You should at least, I think there's like three versions of each map or something like that. You should at least see all of those versions. What is this called again? Is it Gant or something? What is going on here? I think it's called Gant. It's called Gintama. I'll add this to my list. I actually have no idea what this is. Like, it looks kind of like a minigame collection. I don't know for sure, though. Opuna, I got a copy of this as well. I'm really excited to play this. I can't think of many games that base their game around the nunchuck. Super appreciate that. At some point, I will play Opuna. It's just hard for me to get through RPGs. Opuna is still pretty popular, though. Popular within a particular family base, I should say. There's still Opuna support on the internet. I don't need to say anything about Super Mario Galaxy. I mean, I will say that. Okay, I lied. I'm gonna say something about Super Mario Galaxy. Super Mario Galaxy is like a really cool example of a sequel done. Maybe not a sequel. In taking the Mario franchise, right? Taking that and applying the core mechanics of Mario in an environment where Mario's moveset does not change that much. But the environment around him, the context he's navigating the world in, changes that moveset significantly. And I think it's very hard to do that. I think you end up usually in video games with stuff like Super Mario Sunshine, we have FLUDD. Something on the character affects their ability to interact with that world. And I think it's really cool that Super Mario Galaxy does the reverse of that and says, how does the world interact with our character? We have a character with a moveset. Obviously, it's adjusted for this game, but generally, that is the Mario moveset, right? And they change what that moveset means based off where Mario is. That is really cool. And I think, to me, there's a lot to be said about Mario Galaxy in terms of being overly linear, maybe a little more restrictive in level design. But to me, it's maybe like one of the best video games ever made as both a sequel and a like implementation of a new idea. I think very few games ride that line in a successful way. Mario Galaxy does do that. I'm not a big fan of Umbrella Chronicles. I like the idea going through the Resident Evil story in a first-person shooter mode and like making that more accessible to people too. I remember just like the shooting did not feel great. Everything felt too bullet spongy. Ooh, 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 what is this? I know this is an anime. I forget what this anime is. Let me look it up, but there's a lot going on here I have questions about. I think this is Gege no Kitaro, something like that. Let me copy and paste this. This is another Bandai game. I mean, if it's an anime game, it's probably Bandai. Gege no Kitaro, okay, so here, let me walk you through this. Run it. Okay, so like this. Is this a mini game or is this a core mechanic? It looks like a mini game. Okay. Is this the same minigame? This is a different minigame. Okay, I think we're looking at a minigame collection here then. So I think the previous one, you're like navigating, collecting gems. This one, you're like probably shaking the Wiimote and nunchuck to build speed. Here's a battle arena. Okay. So enough of these things looked, and there's like tennis. Okay. Enough of those things looked similar enough in a way that I was thinking that it might be a more connected experience there. But it wasn't. Minigame collection. Maybe someday if it's cheap enough and I just happen to see a copy. Is this 2007? Really? For some reason, this feels way deeper into the Wii's life for me. There were a lot of these games, I will say. And it was late in the year. I don't know if I will ever play a Mario Sonic Olympic Games game. I probably should. I always got the impression those games just maybe did not use motion control super well. I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe I just don't trust Sega. Who worked on those? I don't know who worked on them. If Sega made them, I probably would be a lot more skeptical than if Nintendo worked on it. I know Nintendo didn't work on it, but like I wonder who specifically on it. But if it's like an in-house Sega thing, I'd be skeptical. I've heard it's called in the US. Sengoku Basara, actually. Did I say Sengoku Basara when I meant to say Samurai Warriors earlier? But Sengoku Basara is yeah, this is like a anime men like Muso like game. I don't think the second game came out here because I think this is a PS2 game that got ported over. I don't know if there's any motion controls. The third one came over, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think the second one did. Capcom. I don't know if I'll ever play that. Or Naruto games. Okay, this is like a more traditional one-on-one fighter. I don't trust most fighting games with motion controls. Dragon Ball Z would be an exception because there's something unique with it. Oh, this is Panya again. Okay, like it sounded like it said Panya, but the character there, right there, I thought he was the Wii Golf character. Oh, you get a calendar. Nice. Virtual console. Okay. This is like a very interesting time in like retro game appreciation. You know, it definitely was a lot smaller back then. Yeah, you had the Game Boy Advance collection of things too. Like just like seeing Nintendo explore that like space a little more like initially was kind of neat. You know. Now you have a whole companies based around retro game stuff now, but I don't know where my balance board is. It disappeared in the move I did when I moved out here to Las Vegas. I don't know what happened to it. I would love to get another one. Just because a lot of games will support it. I played a little bit of Wii Fit, the original one. I just remember the problem with this game being is that like maybe the user interface moves a little too slow. I think with Wii Fit Plus, they did some stuff to address that, where like they had like workout regimens that would be like things you could pick, and then like you would just go from one to the other rather than having to sit there and like go through a whole user interface between every single exercise. Did that say 8,800 yen for Wii Fit? That seems cheap. Let me look at the price of Wii Fit real quick. Okay. That seems cheap to me. Like, I feel like today that would be very different. I mean, I guess inflation and stuff, right? I've seen a copy of this game. I am considering getting it. I think so. If you don't know, I like very cute kind of games. And I'm not a huge Disney fan, though. I don't like Disney. But I have not seen enough of that game to convince me it's not something I'd be interested in. The smart thing to do would be to look up gameplay and see if it's like actually something I'd be interested in. But if I am sitting in front of a copy for $5, there's a very good chance that will just be something I do. I am almost certain the Doraemon game didn't come out here on the Wii. Okay, like Mario Party kind of thing. Oh, that's cute. I like that. I don't know if you saw it. It's like a Wii wrist strap tag. Oh yeah, so I actually ordered this recently. I shopped with Japan Retro Direct for import Wii games, and this was on there cheap, and I was like, eh. That was one of those games that people like were like, oh ho ho, look at weird Japanese video games and stuff. I don't know what it's based off of. There might be some show or something weird, but that was definitely one of those games. And you know, I looked at it and I was like, I should probably give this like a legit shot. Usually I would ignore that kind of thing. This Namco remix. I played this recently. This is okay. I will say, if you play that game for Pack and Roll has weird velocity problems in that game. Pack and Roll remix. I forgot. This has like a rhythm Tamagotchi game. I would like to try this at some point. I have too many rhythm games that I don't play though, but I think that is of interest to me. Let me see the name of that real quick. Oh, No More Heroes is great. Tamagotchi Furry Opera Company is what it machine translates to. Oh, interesting. The Pac-Man Remix collection or whatever, Namco Museum Remix, is called Let's Play Together Namco Carnival. At least that's the machine translation. Alright, let me throw this game. No More Heroes is great. Speaking of a game that has really smart use of motion controls, like having the finisher be the motion control thing is very cool. What is that controller? Is that like a fake controller? Just Panya? No, We Love Golf. Okay, that's what I was thinking of earlier. I think is it called We Love Golf in the US? I don't remember. I've not played it or even looked at it really. I'm scared of dungeon crawlers. I probably should play this. I do love the Chocobo Fables like aesthetic. I have the DS one that I need to play, the card game one. But I was actually looking at this today on my shelf. I might play this sometime soon. I've heard fans come around. What was that? Holy crap! Was that like something you'd buy? Oh, sorry, Soul Calibur will come back. Oh, did this come out around Christmas time? I guess it probably did. I don't know if there's any like Christmas aesthetic to that game at all. I know there's Christmas nights, but geez, yeah, 12, 13. Interesting. I guess maybe is that something you just buy? It's like a little figure. Yeah, it's got like a plastic stand on the bottom there. Interesting. I am very interested in playing that game. Maybe soon. Soul Calibur Legends. This is one of those games that probably does not use motion controls in a smart way. I do like the idea of the game taking Soul Calibur, just making it like a brawler, like a Musou kind of game. Oh, this is the Check Me Out channel. Oh god, this music's so good. Again, listen to the Check Me Out OST. It's so good. I don't really like the Mount Fuji thing. Any of the weirder channels on here? Oh, this is when you could start doing like DS download demos and stuff. Alright. Alright. Crazy Climber Wii. I don't know if this got localized. Did it? If this came out here. I'm looking at it. I don't think it was localized. At least the Wikipedia page does not seem to have much mention of it other than the fact that it exists. Like a random note. Climber Wii. Check that one out. It has a Taito series? I think I looked at that fairly recently, but just forgot if it even got brought out here. Huh. The Game of Life. Is that like actual Game of Life? So there is a Game of Life in the West, but I think this is a different thing in the Game of Life that came out in the West. Gameu. I mean, I can read Gameu. I think it is literally just Game of Life is what it says. I don't know if that's like actual Game of Life property or just it's called Game of Life. Yeah. Interesting. Japanese board games scare me. Someday I'll try one maybe. Looks cool. I think the aesthetic looks cool from what I can tell. It's very blurry, but Wii music. Nope. Or probably not. I doubt they'd have a giant squirrel in the Wii music trailer. Wait. Is there a Wii version of this? I had no idea. Okay, so there's like this, yeah. This is a Conductor series, I think. There's a DS. I think there's a number of these on DS. But I don't know if I knew there's a Wii one. Yeah, no Dame. Oh boy. I was going into this thinking like, hey, we're not gonna learn anything new probably. I'm just gonna talk about freaking Wii Sports for 10 minutes, but we're finding stuff. I'm already happy. The Bandai, before Bandai Namco was like merged probably. Or at least what is it? Is Brain Age again? Or not Brain Age, Big Brain Academy? Or a third party equivalent? Who's publishing this? Oh, that's it. Alright, well, let's turn that off. I don't want to autoplay something. Well, that's cool. I don't know what that last thing is. Let me see if I can pull it up. Kanji aptitude test. Okay. The fact that it's kanji stuff means 100% I should not do it. Rocket Company, I recognize that logo. That makes sense. I don't know what Rocket Company worked on and why I know that, but anyways, yeah, I learned about some new games here. I was reminded of some games. We talked about some games that I think, like, hopefully I had some interesting things to say about for you. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with how that went overall. So hopefully the recording itself is fine. I would like to do more of these. I would like to go through all the years of the Wii for this, because the Wii is a system I do care a lot about, and I would love to see more stuff I've not heard of, so I have an idea of what's out there. So if you are interested in more of this, definitely let me know. I am up for it. I may still do it even if you don't say anything, but still, tell me to help me do that if you like it. Also, if you want me to live stream this instead, we can do that. I just worry about time-wise, because I probably wouldn't get a chance to like really look at the chat or anything like this. This is one of the shorter videos. This is like 26 minutes. The other ones are like hours long, and we've been recording for a while, so we might have to do those and break those up basically. So if we do more of these, but I'm very happy with this though overall though. Anyways, thank you again for coming. OneControlBoard.com is the website. If you like Wii games, I got a lot of Wii videos, so I'm gonna link a couple. Import game reviews. I love like Happy Dance Collection. Love that Keikaishi game I mentioned earlier. There's also like YY Combat, things like that, so you can check that out. Also, if you're into yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Family Jockey, there you go. There's another one for you. That's more recent, actually. So, but yeah. So again, thank you for coming. OneControlBoard.com is the website. Really like to look at obscure, underappreciated games, and a lot of time that means import games because of that. So, if you want to see more of this, though, again, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great week. Again, thank you to Game Commercial Collectors on your YouTube channel. I'll link that as well. You should definitely go check them out. Way more commercials here than just Wii. So yeah. Bye.